Listen, I'm here at Urban Cuts, Mr. Waverly Willis in the building. You're holding it down. Our first guest on the Level podcast with me, Raymond, live in the building. Man, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much, man. First, I want to I appreciate you for having me. I'm honored as your first guest on the Level with Raymond, and I want to commend you because I remember you coming in to the shop while you were in broadcasting school, and now you went from photography to videography. Now you got a full-blown podcast. And I've been telling people, I've been in business 17 years, and I know some people that got some really good jobs, Brother Ray. And over the years, a lot of them wanted to start their own business, but they never got that push from or the support to do that. So I just want to commend you. Man. And even more importantly, man, I want to commend you for having your shorty with you and his buddy. This is a family-owned business, a skill set that you can pass on to your son, that he can pass on to his son or his daughter, and that's a beautiful thing. So I just appreciate you having me as your first guest, and I want to commend you on walking into being an entrepreneur, bro.
Man, I appreciate it, man. It's been an adventure, you know. Yeah. It's not always easy, you know.
Yeah.
Having a, you know, as a solopreneur, having to do everything yourself, you know, having to, you know, those sleepless nights, you know, having those ideas and wondering how will it make it happen? How will God bring these things to fruition? So, man, I appreciate that, man. Yeah. It's a blessing. And, you know, going back to when I see you, you know, at church, man, you know, watching you grow into your business and just doing different things, man. You know, big ups to you. Yeah, I appreciate it. And big ups to what you're doing as a dad and as a community member. You know, I see it, man. You've been featured on the Nick Cannon show, amongst other things, man. You're doing it, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
So let's get into it, man. Listen. Okay. So you got the Urban Barber Association, create this foundation. Tell me a little bit more about it.
Okay, the Urban Barber Association, we call it TUBA for short, for the Urban Barber Association. TUBA is basically a network of barbershops, a few salons, and we use our businesses as vehicles to do programming in the community. We got, some shops have after school programs. We got programs to help return citizens or people with felony backgrounds find employment or career, you know, trades, things of that nature. What we're most known for nationally and internationally is we got a blood pressure program because unfortunately us men as a whole, we don't go to the doctor unless something is falling off. So I took it upon myself to start a blood pressure program inside the shop. And we don't give medical advice. The goal is just a three-pronged goal: screen them, educate them, and refer them. And probably 90% of men, once we take their blood pressure at the barbershop, they got high blood pressure. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what prompted me. I'm going through, you know, same thing, life, and I just started asking my clients, what's your blood pressure? I don't know. Well, what's a good blood pressure? I don't know. So now we let them know good blood pressure is below 120 over 80. Okay. And if it's high, we've had guys in the barbershop that have had blood pressure that's so high, Brother Ray, that we would tell them to skip the haircut. Just go straight to the ER. And when they would return, and this has happened on more than one occasion, when they would return to the barbershop, man, they would say, you know, thanks, man. When I got to the ER, the doctor, after they took my blood pressure, they was wondering how I'm even functioning. How did I drive? How did I even get here? You know, they was in stroke or heart attack range. We also got a prostate cancer thing that has achieved national attention as well. And same thing, we had a prostate bus pull up. Most guys don't want to do the prostate because they think it's a rectal exam, and it's not. It's just a blood prick. And we have found men that they found out they have had prostate cancer by getting screened at the barbershop.
Man, that's powerful, man. So blood pressure screenings, you know, you got the association popping off. I mean, what is the drive? What made you say, yes, this is what I want to do with my life, my time? What was your push to say, I want to do this?
Well, the Urban Barber Association, man, it's a redemption story. I actually started the Urban Barber Association. You know, I'm in recovery, you know, for drugs and severe drug and alcohol. You met me, I think I was still fresh out the homeless shelter when we was going to church together. And I knew that I always wanted to be a barber And I just didn't want to have an ordinary barbershop. So while I was in a homeless shelter, I put pen to paper and I wrote out what I wanted my barbershop to be. I wanted my barbershop to be a community-oriented barbershop. So I wanted you to be able to come in, obviously, to get a haircut, but I wanted to have resources for people. And the blood pressure program came about because I was noticing I was not seeing certain clients. And when I would run into a wife or son, a family member at the local grocery store or something, I say, well, what happened to Mike? Just for example. Well, Mike died, man. He had high blood pressure and he just wouldn't take his medication. So I took it upon myself to start just asking brothers, you know, you got high blood pressure? I don't know. You know, and at the same time, I'm going through my stuff. I mean, I'm having, you see I'm a big dude, so being overweight has been a problem for me. Same thing that's in the stereotypical black community in my family, diabetes, stroke, high blood pressure, blah, blah, blah. And I just started to take it upon myself because the thing is, after I found out that some of my clients are dying, these are people that I see once a week, twice a month, maybe once a month. So I took that personal because I know that I got the influence to get this brother to take his blood pressure medication. You know what I'm saying? After you come to somebody for some years, for X amount of time, it's not just a transactional relationship. That's a real, like, you my friend now. Right, you know what I'm saying? Right. I'm invited to your kid's graduation, your kid's soccer game, things of that nature. And so I took it personal, like, man, if I would have just said something to him, I know I could have got him to start taking his medication. And so I just started asking brothers, and then I started taking blood pressure on my own. And then I'm like, we all got high blood pressure.
Everybody.
and don't nobody know it. So that's when I contacted Cleveland Clinic and University Hospital, Metro, and I brought in the Cleveland State NeoMed program, the students. And I got them, convinced them to make, have their students come in, and it was actually part of their class. You know what I'm saying? And so I just needed professional help. And again, the goal of the program, again, we don't give medical advice, screen, educate, and refer. And if you don't have insurance, we go refer you to neighborhood family practice, somewhere that can see you, because the goal, ultimate goal is to get these men to see the doctor on a regular basis.
That's good, man. You know, many times in our community, fathers are the ones that are missing in the household. You know, as we talk about blood pressure screenings, we talk about high blood pressure, you know, dads leaving this earth early because they're not taking care of themselves. And one of the things that drive me as a man is fatherhood. And I, you know, being a father, being present, always, you know, just there, you know, being a father, that's important to me. And so what do you think is the thing that could give encouragement to dads that want to be in the lives of their kids, but they facing challenges, whether it's through the court system, or they're facing challenges through, you know, the baby mama drama and all that stuff? What is some advice that you think you can give to young men that's going through that?
Well, I give the advice all the time, man. Whatever problems that you might be going through, I mean, it's unfortunate, but your children are worth it. You know, we got the Urban Barber Association. Over 10 years ago, we established a group of barbers that go into the detention center on 93rd and Quincy every 2 weeks. And so it's filled with young black boys. Every 2 weeks, the team from Urban Barber Association, they go in there, and this specific team is comprised of barber students. They do over 200 haircuts. It's boys in there, Brother Ray, that's young as 9 years old. They're so small that the county clothes are hanging off of them because they don't have clothes that fit them. And for the record, it's no misdemeanors in there. It's all felons. That means you have done a big crime outside of the obvious, stealing cars. It's young boys in there for murder, rape, assault, things of that nature. And I can never get them to tell me the problem. One thing that would get them to respond was when I said, look, man, I'm just an older black man trying to get to y'all so y'all don't come back down here. Yeah. You know, and that's when I ain't never had that. Never had what? I never had no man, no positive man try to talk to me. And then, you know, when somebody from across the room, I don't know my dad. Or another one, him over there, you know what, I don't know my father either. Or my father in jail. Or my father a dope fiend. Or my father lived down the street from us and he don't even mess with us. That's the one sore spot that I hit these young black boys to make them perk up and talk. We missing, man. We missing. So I let these young guys know, men period, know that you are needed. You know, they didn't come out, these young boys didn't come out and say, I miss my daddy. But that's what they were saying.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's a deficit. They need us bad. Yeah. And every time I would leave there, I would sit in my car and just cry, man, because it's 200 young black boys that's locked in the cage. And a lot of them don't even realize after you do this little time, depending on the crime, you going down, after you hit 17, a lot of them going down to be going in real jail. And you know what's going to happen to a 17-year-old that's locked in jail with a 40-year-old man that's been there for 15 years. That's a wasted life, man. So whatever the problem you going through, to see your child is worth it. But you got to go through it the right way. You just can't blame baby mama. You got to go through the court system. And yes, the court system is rickety and broke, but you just, and it's slow, but your child is worth it. And if they see what I see, you know, when we go in there, they would be agreeing with me. Your child is worth it, because if you don't take your kids, the streets are. Yeah. Period.
And to piggyback on that, I've had an opportunity to participate in the Cuyahoga County Fatherhood Initiative Conference. It's coming up actually pretty soon. And within that organization, they give you resources, teach you your rights.
Yeah, I know
what you
Al
can
Grimes,
do, you know.
And I always direct people to the Fatherhood Initiative.
Yeah, to know your rights. You know, as simple as, you know, how do I navigate? I have this new baby. You know, now the baby's here. Okay, now mom's giving me trouble.
Right.
How do I navigate? Because I want to be in this child's life.
Right.
But, you know, now this child is being held over my head as a carrot.
Yeah.
You know, so what is the rights? What can you do?
Right, but you have to take the initiative. You just can't say, well, she won't let me see my baby, so that's it. Yeah. No, man, you got to go through what you got to go through, because your child is worth it.
Yes.
And your child needs you.
Yes, and it's so crazy, you know, thinking about going through parenting and how so many times you think you're doing it right, you think you're getting it wrong, but there's no book textbook.
There's no manual, man.
You know, and you're gonna make your mistakes.
Right.
You're gonna bump your head. You're gonna have your struggles, your troubles, but you learn from those things.
Yeah, just do your best.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah.
That's all God want. God just want willing people.
Willing people.
Willing people. That's all. Yeah. He didn't nowhere in nobody's word, whether it's the Bible, the Quran, or whatever God you worship. None of it says I need perfect people.
Yeah.
None of it.
So, okay, one thing you could say to a young person right now in today's world that will change them from wanting to be violent, wanting to be gang banging in the streets, you know, out here robbing people, you know, out here stealing cars, you know, because right now that's all you hear about. You hear about our young teenagers that are out here stealing cars, that's out here with no dads in the home. You know, they out here late at night, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, committing all these different crimes and felonies. And what's the direction for them? What do you think is something that can be put into place, or something that we can do as a community to really grab hold to these young people and say, you are loved, you are somebody. You don't have to do these different things to be recognized, to be a part of something. What is the positive spin that we can give them?
Something that I would say specifically to a young person, or something that we can do to help the young people?
Well, probably a little bit of both. Like if you ran into a young man saying, you know, you see him going down the wrong place. You know.
Think it through.
Yeah.
Think it through.
Yeah.
if you steal this car, think about the scenarios. First of all, if you steal it, it's nothing good. Even if you, in your perfect world, thinking as a young person, even if you get away with it, God still, if nobody saw you, police, nobody, God still see you.
Yeah.
So that's gonna come back, man.
Yeah.
That's gonna come back. So stop thinking through. Because the thing is, if you get away with it the first time, you're gonna do it again. Mm-hmm. Eventually you're gonna get caught.
Or killed.
Yeah, or killed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if I can just, and I do talk to the young men and just tell them stop, you know, but I gotta meet them where they at. They angry, Brother Ray. They angry.
Yeah.
Angry. Just mad. And they have a right to be.
Yeah.
But the thing is, self-preservation is the first law of man. You gotta save yourself. Now, as a grown man, you can filter that and process it, and it makes sense. But imagine me saying this time and time again to a young kid. You know, even if he's bothering to even listen to me. Mm-hmm. That's why I make sure that when the young people go into the juvenile detention center, I try to bring my 18-year-olds, my 19. A lot of them are 2 years removed. They know a lot of them young guys because a year before they were still in cars with them. So every 2 weeks, this team get to talk to the heartless fellas. They get to talk to the kid boys. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I always say, look, let them know in a year you'll be a licensed barber. In 2-3 years, you might even own your own shop. To a young 14-year-old, they can't even fathom owning their own business, man. I let them know your presence is powerful. And that's what I learned from being a barber. My presence and my influence is powerful. Like I said, after I started talking to my guys about, you've been taking your blood pressure. Now I know the signs. You get in the chair, it's chilly outside, but you sweating. You've been taking your blood pressure medicine, man. Mm-hmm. Or, man, I've been having headaches lately. Bro, you been taking your meds? Mm-hmm. No, man, I feel good. I'm like, well, when did you get your degree? What degree? You got to be a doctor, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so now my proudest moments, I know that I'm saving lives. Is the shop is filled with a bunch of men on Saturday, and you think we talking about sports, but we exchanging vegetarian lasagna recipes and stuff like that, or a yoga pose we finally got.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know that's from the seeds that's being planted in these conversations. So far as the young people, you just gotta plant them seeds. When I see them, man, you been going to school, man? Don't lie to me, bro. Mm-hmm. And God forbid, they don't even walk past my shop during the daytime if it's school hours.
Don't go past the
Cause I'm blowing down on you. Wow. Period.
Yeah.
And they know it.
Man, that's good.
I mean, I gotta fill in that void for my brothers.
Yeah.
Because I know how it is. After the good Lord rescued me from my drug and alcohol addiction, and I started seeing my kids, I literally sat them down and told them, I don't know how to be a dad. And I got 2 girls. Imagine
that's all right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Imagine talking to your kids as a man and telling them, to your girls, mind you, imagine your baby girl and you telling her, I don't know how to be a dad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I didn't at the time. And I mean, like we said, it ain't no manual. Yeah. I'm still trying to stay off drugs and alcohol. Now I got to be a dad, but I got to be a dad. You know what I'm saying? They didn't ask to be here. Yeah. You know? Mm-hmm. So.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, just to have that connection where, you know, someone cares.
Yeah.
You know, and I think in our society with the teenagers, you know, it's so much hustle and bustle. Mm-hmm. You know, you're trying to get the bag, you're trying to do this, you're trying to take care of this, and sometimes I believe they feel left out.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you guys, if it's teenagers watching or listening, there are people that care about you. Yeah. You know, there are men like me and Wave and other men that can come and show you how to live, show you how to do the right things, and just continue on being a teenager where you continue life the proper way. So, man, you know, this shout out to all my young people that may be watching this. Look, people are out here that care about you. Yeah. It's not always the negativity that you see at home. It's not always about, the stuff you see on social media. Right. That stuff is fake. You see all the planes and the gold chains. That stuff is not real. It's real for them for that moment. It's funny because I was watching a YouTube video about the old Pimp My Ride show. And they was talking about how a lot of those cars were like rented or they like beat up and they just fix them up. Yeah. And then, he was telling me how they were saying how they would take one car and buy an identical car that was actually in a little better shape that they would actually pimp out versus the one you
man.
So
all that stuff is fake. But you know what? That's the battle that we got. Yeah. Because they think it's real. Yeah. Imagine me just arguing with my 10-year-old grandson about the stuff that I'm like, bro, where'd you get that at? I saw a video. Stop. That's not real. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But this is real, and showing up every day, whether it's good or bad, eventually they say, all right, well, Dad, Grandpapa said it wasn't real, so it ain't real. Yeah.
So legacy, we as black men are always trying to leave something for the next generation, our children, whatever, space that we're in, we're trying to create a space that they don't have to go through the same struggles, some of the things that we had a hard time going through, whether it's, having a job, having money. And so, we have entrepreneurs out here. We're trying to do things to just leave something for them. What does legacy mean to you?
Legacy means, obviously, you want to leave something to your family, but it's not always something tangible, a business or a car or a house or something. Of course, you want to leave those things, but legacy is making an impact on future generations. And legacy could go both ways. You can be a criminal and have a family full of criminals in your lineage, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or you can be an entrepreneur. You can be a regular 9-to-5 person. But just the fact, like I said, consistency. Dad went to work every day. You know what I'm saying? That's a legacy. Yeah. Because they're learning that. They're learning that in order to have this car, this house, or to be able to go out and buy those pair of sneakers, Dad had to get up every day and go to work, even when he was sick. Even when his car was down, he caught the bus or he caught a ride or Uber, whatever. But that's legacy to me, leaving something to the next generation or generations.
Legacy is huge. When I think about it for myself is, not leaving the pain that I had to endure as a young man growing up. Some of the things, not having a father in my household, my mom raised me all by herself, single parent household. She did the best she could. Yeah. She taught me early on how to get yourself up for them, get your clothes on for school. They're right here, they're ready. You need to get to school. And, I'm at 8, 9 years old.
But it taught you responsibility.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And, back then it was different. You could do stuff like that. Now, it's a little different. But, it taught me that, no matter what, my mom still had to go to work. Yeah. And I had to, grow up fast. Yeah. And there's no, right now I feel there's a lot of coddling for young people, and not to their fault, but, as a generation, just they feel entitled sometimes. Yeah. And, I watch it in the schools and just social media, whatever you see, where kids are just not trying.
Yeah, but you know what? One brother, he put that in perspective, and I never thought about this way because I came up the same way, single parent household. I had to be responsible, And the brother told me, another barber, shout out to Touche over at the Art of Shaving in Euclid. Oh, right. He said that we're just some hood kids that's raising suburban kids. So we don't want our kids to have it as bad as we did. Right. But seeing your mom get up every day, go to work, now what do? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we blaming the kids, but we the one calling them. Because we, you know what I'm saying?
That's deep. Yeah.
The parenting is different.
We don't want them to have the same pitfalls.
Exactly.
The stumbling and
right. We don't want them to have to wear them buddies.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So we go get him the nice sneakers.
Yeah.
They don't know the pain of buying your tennis shoes from a grocery store.
Mm-hmm. Or the Goodwill.
Yeah. They don't know that pain.
Man, that's deep. That's deep.
You see what I'm saying? So we got to take ownership in that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we say we came up hard on the rough side of the mountain, but we men, you know what I'm saying? And we endure. And when something wrong happened, we tuck our chin and we fight through it.
Yeah. And you know, I would say I'm even guilty of that now when you talk about how we don't want them to go down the same path we went through. You know, we try to make the path a little bit more smoother for them. You know, I had holes in my pants, so now I want to make sure that my kids has got the right clothes and gear. And so it's a balance, you know. And what do you think the balance is where we can have that midway point to say, okay, yeah, we want to give them everything, but we want them to still have it where they know they can appreciate.
Let them fall.
Let them fall. Man, okay.
And that's hard.
Wow.
Talking to it, let them fall.
Wow. Let them fall.
They just go skin their knee. Let them go through that pain. You told them stop. Let them fall. You know, not fall off the roof.
Yeah.
But let them fall, skin their knee,
skin on,
and say, I told you don't do that.
Wow.
Let them fall, man. We did.
That stove hot. Don't touch it.
Right.
Man.
Right. We did.
Yeah.
And it toughened us up.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Our biggest teacher is not our parents or our teachers. It's life.
Yeah.
So if we don't let them fall a little bit now, when they men, that's what we're happening. Yeah. That's what we're seeing with the young people now. When they fall, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Instead of just, damn, man. Mess my knee up.
Yeah. Keep it pushing.
And limp your butt on home.
Yeah.
Clean it up and keep it pushing. Man. Instead, we're like, wait, you almost fell. Man. So now they don't know how to catch themselves. Yeah. They don't know how to heal the wound up because we've been catching them. Let them fall, man. That's hard. That's hard to digest as a father, right? Yeah.
It is. Because, you know, sometimes that fall in our eyes is like, oh, it's the end of the world. What it's not.
Right, it's not.
But it's there to build them up and
yeah.
Wow.
Pain is a great teacher, bro.
Yes, it is.
And you won't touch it again.
Yeah. You bump your head like, okay. Yeah.
I told you to duck. I told you to stop. I told you to stop jumping on the bed.
Yeah. I say this generation now, when we talk about, they have so many things that they deal with now that we didn't.
Yeah.
You know, you have the social media, you have all this, you know, glossy stuff in the images.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's tough to find a way to kind of isolate them from these phones, from this computer, all these different things.
It's a way of life. And that's a whole nother thing, man. I got young boys that come here. Some I'm cool with now after cutting their hair since they was 5 years old. But my chair, everybody else, they do what they do. But in my chair, you ain't having that phone. You go talk to me. I got a little dude, I talk to him the whole time. He just mad because you can't have I don't care what he did, he did. Yeah. Me and you go talk. And if you ain't go talk to me, you just go hear me talk for the next half an hour while I cut your hair. And guess what? After we get done with this haircut, you go shake my hand, you go squeeze it, and you go look me in your eye when you do it. And now he conditioned. Sometimes he talk to me, sometimes they talk to me, sometimes they don't. Yeah. But social media technology is a blessing and a curse, just depending on how you use it. Yeah. It's a lost art. This right here is a lost art.
Yes, it is.
When I meet young boys the first time, how you doing? I'm Mr. Waverly. They give me that. Yeah.
That dapper.
That limp handshake.
Yeah.
So my grandson automatically know when you meet somebody, he already know. Hi, I'm Dallas. Nice to meet you. And they always be like, man, you almost squeezed my hand off.
That's
but
good.
that's legacy.
Good. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
If I don't leave you nothing in the world because you get one time to make a first impression. And that's legacy.
And that's a skill set that I get to teach these young black boys. And I'm telling you, this is what's going to make you go far. You know why? Because everybody else giving them limp-fisted handshakes and they not speaking and looking at you in the eye. This is a skill set, communication. It's an art. But now everybody's so busy like this. Hey, how you doing?
And them phones.
So I always got to take that chin and look at me. Give me your hand. Squeeze it. What's your name? Michael. What's your name? Say your name with your chest out. I can't hear you. You proud of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Say it with your chest out. Make an impression on me. Every time you meet a young person that does that, everywhere I go, when I say, go introduce yourself, they always impress because it's not common anymore. I heard your son call you yes, sir. That's not common anymore. That's legacy. That's something that he's going to take with him. Whether you leave him $1 million or no dollars. Yeah. That's respect. That's legacy. He don't realize it.
On the level conversations, this is what it's about. Changing lives, being an impact in the community. Man, brother, I thank you, man.
Appreciate it,
Thank you, man. Thank you for everything you're doing in the community with our young men, our brothers, our boys, man. Continue your great work, man.
God bless you, man. God bless on the level. I pray that you got peace and prosperity, and you keep growing on the level to the point that you can give this to your babies, man, and make an impact, which is the goal.
All right.
All right.
Till next time, peace.
Peace.